The reason that I like to make work that crosses documentary and fiction is to do something that's more than what one can predict or what can be planned. The show is called Out of This World, and it's a premiere of a film called Hemel, which is a portrait of the town Hemel Hempstead. Hemel is a very personal work to me because I actually grew up in Hemel Hempstead, and so the work explores my relationship to the town as well as this proximity to industry, to what we call the industrial estate. It was a small town, and then it kind of expanded in 1946 as part of a kind of New Town Act to allow for people to move out of London and to live in better conditions after the Second World War. At one point also England, and in particular people in Hemel, were really making a lot of money, like bricklayers and builders. They had this surge of income that occurred, and I think that kind of tapered off. You know, people were struggling financially, and a lot of the time there's this situation like, who's to blame for that, right? And I think that in England a lot of people from elsewhere get blamed for that, as if, you know, people coming into this town are taking everyone's jobs or taking over.
You moved here from Nigeria, right?
Yeah, I moved to the UK from Nigeria.
This piece is not just about Hemel, it's something that's happening in many different towns, even in America. Like, maybe the equivalent is shopping malls closing down, right? In the installation, you will be sitting in a community centre that is all devoid of colour and a kind of black and white atmosphere. To have this sense of walking into something and having to decide where you're going to sit. Are you going to sit with someone else watching it, or are you going to go and take your own table? Like, there's a consideration of your body in space in relation to the film and the idea of community. I encountered Quatermass 2 actually quite a long time ago. It's like a B-movie sci-fi film that was shot in Hemel Hempstead. And I watched it, and you could literally see where I grew up. So I was intrigued, first of all, because of it being almost like an archival document of this town, like before I was born. But then it turns out the actual sci-fi narrative in itself was incredibly interesting, because it was essentially about these meteorites that came from outer space, which happened to actually be more than just meteorites.
Meteorites give a strong trace as soon as they strike the atmosphere. These are different.
They contain alien entities that give off this gas that essentially possesses the people of the town, in particular the workers of the town. So everyone seems to be employed by this unknown factory, the corporation, that is cultivating this black goo that is turning into an alien. To me, it made clear that there was this conversation about race and labor that was going on in this piece, because with a lot of sci-fis, they're often reflecting the hysteria and fear of the time. And so it seemed like this idea of this infiltration from elsewhere, like the infiltration of work from elsewhere. And so I wanted to unpack that, because I think that for me was really significant to how I felt growing up in England, and how those things about race and labour coincide with each other.
Hemel is a nice place, but it also has
small town mentality.
For me, I was thinking about it as this slippage between these raw materials like coal also, and oil, and things that happen to be black in reality, but then also the abstraction of race. the idea of black or to be black as a fiction that is not in reality a real thing, but is in its binary what kind of causes a lot of racism, in the sense that you're different, like because you're the extreme opposite to me being white. If you're living in a town, you're a part of a community, and sometimes that comes with, you know, feelings of exclusion, like who belongs and who doesn't. I think that caring for people, which was the point of the town, was about caring for people and making sure they had good living conditions. That's a good thing, right? It's just that for who? That's now the question that we have to keep asking. Is not just about taking care of who we think we're like based on some sort of nationalistic idea, but also a kind of planetary notion that we're all connected.